Vilkmerges Kriek.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Why did I say that in a funny voice? Fuck knows. Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. Full disclosure, before we even begin, this beer was given to me. And it was given to me by the very kind bloke who runs Skunk Central round the corner. Who'd have thought? Sponsored by Skunk Central. Well, not sponsored actually, but he gave me a beer. And I think the reason is because I do buy a lot of beer over there. I buy regular fucking bouts of Budvar and Kozel when he's got it. I more or less clean him out when he's got Kozel in there. So yeah, this was a thank you for that. And he is good. He will get beer in that I do ask for. But this is a Lithuanian attempt at a Kriek beer. And I'm thinking this isn't going to be great. Let me give you a little history of, or not a little history, a little bit of information about Belgian Kriek beer, because this is what that is based on. So, Belgian Kriek beer, Kriek in Belgian, or Flemish I should say, means cherry. And cherry is a dominant flavour in Kriek beer. It is a lambic style beer. Now, you might be asking, what is a lambic style beer? Well, lambics are Kriek beers. They do a framboze, which is lambic, and they also do a gers or huza, which is lambic as well. And that is basically aged beer, which can on occasion be blended, and it uses wild or spontaneous fermentation. What's wild or spontaneous fermentation? It's basically left out in the open, and the bacteria in the air feed on the sugars that are in the mash and give it its own unique flavour. Usually that is a sour flavour. Now, if you're not a fan of sour beers, you're not going to like lambic beers, because that is a trademark of what they are. They do put me in mind at times, not all the time, but at times they put me in mind of West Country ciders. You know, them really strong West Country cider with the sour, tart type flavour. They do remind me of that, especially the Gurzes. And I've had quite a few Krieks in my time, quite a few lambics, and quite a few framboze. I have to say, out of the three different flavours, the framboze is my least favourite. That's the raspberry typed lambic. The Gers is quite nice if you get a good one, but my favourite is Kriek beer. And my favourite Kriek beer is Old Beer Cells Old Kriek. And Kriek beer really is a nice style if you get a good one. The signature of a Kriek beer is to use Morello cherries. Now, I don't think, and looking on their website as well, the Vilkmerges website, this isn't brewed in the style, certainly not. They don't make a big thing of it. And if they did, I'd imagine they would have put it on there, but they should be using Morello cherries. That's what a traditional Belgian Kriek will use, and yeah, that's standard. I think what they've done here is they've got some kind of cherry concentrate, and they've put it into, well, they say by their own admissions they've tried to brew a top fermented Belgian ale, whatever that is, I do not know, but they put cherry juice in it, and well, they say cherry juice, I think it's cherry concentrate. And to be honest, that's really not the way a cherry lambic is brewed, or a cherry Kriek I should say. I'm calling it a cherry Kriek because they've got me out of it now. It's a Kriek beer. Yeah, Vilkmerges aren't a bad brewery actually. Of all the Lithuanian and Latvian beer they get over there, Vilkmerges are quite good. Not really impressed with their lagers, but the dark lager that they do is quite nice. quite reminiscent of a German Dunkel. They do a porter as well, which is nothing of the sort. It's more like a red ale, and it's quite nice as well. I think they use sugar in their beers, and potentially they use malt extract too. So there's corners cut. Argue the toss. At the end of the day, it's what the beer tastes like. But yeah, I really haven't got high hopes for this, and I really do want to be pleasantly surprised. I don't want to go into a rant, but I think, and if you're gonna call it a Kriek beer, then you really should be brewing it in the true Belgian sense of the word, and I don't think they have. So again, I think this is just going to be a poor imitation. That's my perception of it. I could be proved wrong, and I really do hope I am proved wrong, and it is a pleasant surprise and quite enjoyable when I am proved wrong, but I don't think I am. So without further ado, let's find out, see what's going on. Right, this is a 440ml bottle, and it's been imported. As I say, it was given to me by the fella in Skunk Central. It's 5%. That's okay for a Kriek. Krieks are normally a little bit stronger than that, sort of 5.5, 5.6. It doesn't really give any indication of what is in there. I mean, they say cherry juice and all that, but cherries aren't. Morello cherries do have a distinctive flavour. Now, I've had cherry jam before, I've had black cherry jam before, but I've had Morello cherry jam as well, and it does taste different. I think there's something about it. It does have a sour note to it, but it also has a richer flavour, in my opinion. But I don't think that's what's in here. I think it's, as I say, some kind of cherry concentrate. The IBUs on this are 14, which is very, very sweet. Now again, I don't know how that translates, the IBUs would translate to sourness, because sour isn't really bitter. I mean, it's a completely different taste, but I would have thought that the IBUs would have been a little bit higher, but they're 14%, so there you go. And I'm starting to get a little bit intrigued now, so I'm not going to dwell too much on this, but as I say, a bit of a mystery. Well, not, or not, as the case may be. I think it's going to be a little bit disappointing, but let's find out. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say this is potentially going to be a good beer. Right. Now, Belgians do fruit-flavoured beer, and that is really not nice. And when I say fruit, it's made with fruit concentrate. Some people do like that. That's the cat, by the way, in case you didn't know. Some people do like that. I'm not a fan. They're Rouge. If you ever see a Belgian Rouge beer, it is just way too sweet for me. And as you probably know, I'm not a big fan of sweet beer. But it is lively, I will say that. But it is, well, no, I was going to say it's starting to look like it's artificial, but it's not. I've had Kriek beers that do look like that. There is in the glass. This isn't bottle conditioned. There's going to be no sediment in the bottom, so it's probably like, yeah, there. Wow. Hang on. Wait a minute. I see what they've done there. This is all falling into place. When I said earlier in the previous section that they brewed a Belgian top fermented beer, it's wit beer. And I think what they've done is they've just put what I think is cherry concentrate into a wit beer. That's not a fucking lambic. Because, you know, I can really get the peppery spice and the clove that I would normally associate with a wit beer in that. That's really dominating. And the cherry is incidental. Now, if memory serves, I did try, I don't know whether it's from this brewery, but I did try a Lithuanian wit beer in a can. One wasn't great, but one was okay. And I think the one that was okay must have come from Vilkmerges. but that's what it smells like to me. So I think what they've done is they've just got a reasonable attempt at a wit beer, because it really does have that characteristic. On a normal lambic you would not get that. The only flavour you would be getting would be huge sour cherries. This has just got that big clove, big spice. The cherry is starting to come through a little bit more on it now as well. Okay, right, well, let's forget that this is a blended, well, not even a blended beer, is it? That's just cherry juice thrown into a wit beer. Interesting. Okay, wish me luck. Bottoms up. Oh, that's really sweet. It's not exactly what I thought, but that's cherry concentrate in a beer. And it's not a creek. Well, is it a creek? No, I'm going to say no, because a creek to me is a lambic. This isn't a lambic. It's just sweet. There's no sourness to it at all. Oh, and it is sweet, Jesus. Sweet Jesus, it's sweet. No, I'm not a fan. It's just way too sweet. It's almost like an alco pop. Oh, that is a real shame. Well, it's not a real shame. I sort of got that anyway. And I'm just looking at it as I pour it out. It's very pale and insipid. I mean, to be fair, it does look like a lambic, but oh, that's not good. It's just way too sweet. And I'm sort of surprised, but I'm not, if you know what I mean. This is, I wouldn't say it's typical of what attempts at creek beer are, but you can't just, I mean, this is the perfect example of how not to do things. If you think that just brewing some attempt at a Belgian ale and throwing in some cherries, you can call it a creek. You can't. Creek is a definitive style of lambic, and it's brewed in a specific way. And the fact on the website that they didn't say anything about that, they didn't say anything about spontaneous fermentation, they didn't say anything about the Morello cherries that should be in here, then yeah, they've just used some kind of weird cherry concentrate that you can get from anywhere. There's loads of sugar in it, and they poured it into what is effectively a wit beer, but that they've brewed themselves. And it's just too sweet, and I'm not drinking it because I don't like sweet beer. That's a gimmicky beer, and it ain't for me. I am going to give that to either my missus or my daughter, and I'm going to let them drink it because I am not a fan of that at all. So what is the verdict on this Vilkmerges Kriek? Well, in a word, it's pretty terrible. It's far too sweet. It's not a lambic, and it's not anything like a Belgian creek beer, unfortunately. And I think Matey in Skunk Central is going to be a little bit disappointed, because, I mean, some people may like that, it's very sweet, but he's bought in a load of them. But if you like sweet beer and you like alcohol pops, you're going to love that. It's just that it's not for me. It's full up with sugar. I can, even in the aroma, you can just get that real, I don't know, that real fucking heavy saccharine type sweetness that I just don't like. It's not for me. Unfortunately, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. This, you're not going to like it. If you've got a really sweet tooth and you like sweet beer, you'll like this. I don't. If you're going to drink that, you might as well drink Copperberg or something like that, something as sweet as that. But nah, this is not for me. I'm going to give it to me missus or daughter, and yeah, I'm going to forget that this ever happened. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10, and that's the best I can do. And remember, I'm drinking this shit, so you don't have to.